Welcome to Through the Rough, a place where real-life people share the real-life experiences that have shaped us into who we are today.
Welcome back to the story of Matt's 30-year journey through Texas law enforcement, Part 4.
It's going to be 6 months. It's going to be a year.
Yeah.
It could be 2 years, and then something triggers it. And so it's important that they stay with it. And lucky enough, Houston has gotten better with that.
Yeah.
You know, where now it is, they see you at 6 months in a year. You know, you have to go check up. Now, a lot of it might just be just checking the box.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm fine. You know, they don't really put, because if the guy's not receptive to it, or girl, you know, if they're not receptive, and also they changed it to where it's a critical incident. It's not just shooting involved in itself. It's critical incidents of you coming on, like a guy I worked with, Harvey, you know, when the city of Houston flooded, the whole city flooded.
Yeah.
And Harvey, they got tasked with the body recovery of a family that drowned in a minivan. The HFD wouldn't go down there, nor would the body people go down there. So they had to go down there.
A family?
A family, kids, and they drove off into the floodwaters. And so, and, you know, so that would be a critical incident where they, you know, where they should address, because my buddy, he probably still deals with it. Because I remember, you know, he lived real close to me where our house in Houston is now, and we'd meet up at the local breweries in the neighborhood, and we'd talk, and yeah, he told me about that, and you know, this was years ago when he told me about it, so yeah, he was definitely messed up by it.
Yeah, I imagine. Jesus,
by far.
God,
I mean,
just hearing that, like,
because
makes
I mean,
me
it's
nauseous.
the kids,
Yeah.
and that was the thing with like adults and stuff. You know, adults, you know, this guy, you know, he chose to do what he did and he got shot. You know, like
Adults know better.
Yeah.
Children
they're
are
older.
innocent.
So like, you know, and what I had like a year and a half on or something. And to me, this is the worst thing I ever saw, you know, and and I saw the blood on the blues. I've seen the blood, my own blood on my own blue, because back then we wore baby blues, you know.
Yeah.
So it
really showed.
Yeah, it was really pronounced. Now, you know, they went to the dark navy because that makes sense in 100% humidity city.
Polyester still, though.
Yeah, with that blazing hot sun, you know. Yeah, well, they got rid of, at least we wear cotton pants.
Okay, now it's cotton. That's a little breathable.
Yeah, it's a little more breathable than.
Reminds me of that episode in Seinfeld.
Oh my! I was just thinking of the same thing. George Costanza trying to get the team to wear cotton and polyester and all that.
I've never seen it.
Oh,
that's hilarious.
I've never watched Seinfeld.
Oh my God,
it's pretty funny.
Yeah, that's what I hear. I've never watched it.
It's one of the funniest shows I've ever
seen. Yeah, so run this call and baby unresponsive, and in the third ward, and so we get there, and kid might have been 6 months old, maybe 8 months old, maybe a year old. I don't know, you know, but young. Not old enough to walk really, but pulling itself up. And and I know I had it. I've seen pictures of it. Pacifier on a shoestring around the neck, because I have an oral fixation, so I like chewing on crap. So that's why I always, if you see me, a lot of times I'm just chewing on straws because I don't chew gum anymore. And because I got so many crowns in my mouth, I don't want to pull them off. And so, you know, I'd always chew on pen caps or whatever. I was always chewing on. Well, because as a kid, I always had a pacifier in my mouth. There was not a photo of me as an infant where I did not have a pacifier. I mean, my mom thought I was going to go to kindergarten with a pacifier.
Oh, jeez.
You're that kid like trying to get this away from, like, oh God.
Yeah, exactly.
This is going to be a nightmare.
Well, of course, what does she do? Put it on a shoestring around my neck, right?
So you don't lose it too.
But this is back in the 70s, and and it doesn't fall on the ground, and now they have those clips on the shirt, right? Well, the parents are out, like a cousin's watching them, and pulls himself up on the coffee table and like slips off and hangs itself. The baby hung itself with the shoestring.
Fucking A.
Yeah. I mean, that.
Where was the caregiver? Like
in, you know.
Just the other room kind of thing?
And just kind of walked away. And you know how that happened so quick. And, you know, and to me, that is the worst thing I ever saw.
Yeah.
And then, of course, you know, the paramedics are great, of course, man, what they do and the stuff that they do. But, you know, the kid was on life support for a couple of days, and then, of course, you know, died. But
like brain dead?
Yeah. It was brain dead, you know, but it was on life support. I keep saying it, but, you know, as a human being, he, you know, a little baby, you know, and, you know, to me, that's the worst thing I ever saw. And like I said, I had like a year and a half on.
Do you say that the worst thing that you ever saw, or do you feel that because it was a situation that was 100% avoidable and then the fact that it was such innocence was lost or destroyed.
I think it's more about the innocence.
Yeah.
And of course, yeah, avoidable, but this is a poor area of Houston. Third Ward is a poor area,
Yeah.
so the stuff that we're able to afford, they have to choose, am I going to buy food or am I going to buy the clip for the pacifier?
Yeah.
Or
no shit.
I mean, yeah, they're they have a place to live, but they're probably barely above the poverty line.
Yeah.
So and or who knows why?
It's just enough.
Yeah, I mean, my mom did it, like I said to me.
Yeah.
And we were fine.
Here I gotta not to derail the conversation. I got a crazy story about the differences. Your mom put a pacifier with a shoestring around your neck. No big deal, right? No big deal. It was the 70s. I vividly remember back in the early 80s. My memory, like yours, is really cool. But I have a memory of being back in the 80s. My mom and dad used to have an El Camino. You remember the old Chevy El Camino?
Yeah.
No back seats, nothing like that. It was just a bench seat in the front, and there was like a small triangle compartment behind that seat in the rear firewall. Well, me and my sister once rode 17 miles behind that seat down gravel roads in a fucking El Camino in the early 80s.
Yeah.
The differences in from then to today are astronomical. You're a 3-year-old kid coughing up road dust. You have no idea where the fuck you are.
They want to know why you got black lungs.
You're a 1-year-old with a fucking rope around your neck.
Yeah, 2-string pacifier. But I mean, the pacifier was always in my mouth. Yeah, I mean, to me, that because of the innocence, just that young of a kid who, not old enough to have its say or choice.
Yeah.
And who knows what would have happened with that kid.
Could have lived a life worth living, could have lived a life of crime, could have lived it was cut short.
Yeah, you don't know.
The opportunity was never given.
Yeah, so to me, and it's not like something I wake up every night, but I mean, it's something, periodically I just think about it.
How did you deal with it at that time?
I think we went and ate.
Yeah.
I mean,
that's fucked up. I mean, it's not fucked up, but it's fucked up.
Yeah, I mean, because on
what
that,
do you expect?
Yeah, I mean, on that deal, we had a training unit take it over from us. Because it's a good call for training purposes.
Yeah.
And then on something that, homicide, I think, made the scene because, and it's not like it was an intentional, homicide.
Homicide comes on to just investigate the situation.
Yes. And
see if there's criminal negligence or anything like that.
Yeah. And also with a baby, you want to make sure you have a seasoned pro. And back then, our homicide was top notch, man.
Yeah.
It was so good. And, one of my dad's old partners was there and, highly respected, a guy that I worked for right before I retired who came out of homicide, went to narcotics, and then he was a HIDA director, highly respected. I wish I would have met that guy way sooner in my career, especially as a supervisor to base how he was as a supervisor.
Yeah.
But, just highly respected. Our homicide back then was top notch.
If you look at like a department, like your department or any department for that matter, do you think it's kind of like where you say they were top notch, right? In your department, I don't know. I might not be using this terminology right when I say department. It may be precinct, right? Where you've got different departments within a precinct. Is that how it works?
Well, I mean, yeah, we don't have precincts.
Okay.
So we just have divisions.
Okay, so your vision.
Yeah,
in your division, you've got a homicide in that division?
No.
Or
homicide is its own division.
Okay.
Like South Central, it's its own patrol division. Narcotics is its own division. Robbery is its own division. Burglary and theft is its own division. So,
but all these different divisions make up the whole.
What do you mean the whole?
Like you say, like our team, we had a really good homicide team.
Well, for homicide, so if it was a homicide,
but each division,
that's Houston homicide.
Yeah, but each division makes up the whole department, so to speak.
Yeah, like homicide responds to the city. They're not like assigned to like South Central.
Yeah, okay.
They respond to all of that.
Yeah.
Now to get to that was me establishing,
the hierarchy
framework.
Yeah.
But can you compare it to like say like a football team where you've got an all-star quarterback with an all-star
by far. I mean,
center?
It's just like anything else where you're going to have your all-stars and then you're going to have your scrubs who ride the bench.
Yeah.
By far. And it's just like and same with where I worked, Was I an all-star? I don't know. I thought I was a really good officer.
Yeah.
I went out there and I put a lot of good people in jail and I put a lot of people in jail.
Put good people in jail?
Well, yeah. I mean, when I say good,
good arrest.
I totally ginned them.
Quality arrest.
Yeah, I mean, like good crooks.
Yeah.
But I worked with some all-stars, I mean, like, man, I wish I was like him because they just, they could do it. Like
Mhm.
there's one guy, man, he could find a stolen
What do you mean?
stolen car.
Really?
Stolen?
Good at finding stolen cars, which is car chase. And most of the time it was a car chase. So he was always in chases. Yeah. So we're like, hey man, you're gonna stir a stolen up today? And he's like, hey, we'll see. And because hey, we want a good car chase. It's been a while. And
That's nuts.
it's the adrenaline rush, man.
Hot pursuit.
Do you,
You know how it is on a roller coaster? You know?
oh yeah, no.
I know how it is on a motorcycle.
There you go.
Did you get off and you're like, let's do that again? Did you, so, dealing with seeing that baby that had passed, and you said you guys went and eat. Do you guys like talk about it? No, just
Nope.
move on.
Not at all. Just
Just move on,
a
man.
macho man.
23, 24, 25, single, talking about picking up chicks. What all young dudes with money in their pocket do.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wasn't good at it, but I talked about it.
That's crazy.
Yeah, and then of course me and my buddy who got shot, we always would meet up with a couple other classmates, and at a different station, we'd meet halfway and eat in the middle of the night and stuff like that. And well, one of them, he was Asian, and his parents owned a few convenience stores.
Yeah.
And when did we have, like maybe 2-3 years on? I forget. I think he had 3. I think it was in 1997. Well, he's in one of his parents, and a guy hijacked it and ends up killing him.
By hijack, you mean
Robs it.
rob it?
Yeah. And killed him,
Old.
my classmate.
Okay, the robber killed your classmate.
Yeah. And now he wasn't in a uniform or anything. He was there,
He was just visiting his parents' store.
Yeah. And so, he
Wow.
ends up killing him. So I have a classmate who, and they carried him in line of duty for it because I think, once they talked to that guy, once they arrested him and stuff like that, again, Asian, typical, Asians prey on their own culture. It was an Asian guy robbing an Asian store.
Really?
Yeah, man.
Dude, I've never heard of this before in my life.
Oh, yeah, by far. Because it's a lot of the Asians, they keep it in-house.
Like that criminal enterprise, so to speak.
And a lot don't call,
Mm.
because there's the mistrust of the police.
Yeah.
Because of where they might have came from, Vietnam, China,
Just those complete cultural differences.
Yes. Yeah. And so it's not uncommon. Well, so I don't know how, I think he said something like, hey, I'm an officer and we're going to catch you, and then the guy killed him. So they carried him in the line of duty because, so yeah. So in 3 years, I had a classmate shot. Then I had my other classmate killed, and
Doesn't this at 3 years in, you've got fucking friends are dying around you. Like
Yeah.
it's still like, when do you check your own mortality? Are you still young and dumb and full of cum and
Yeah,
fucking got a
yeah.
gun in your hand and police chases and
thinking I'm still the baddest dude around.
yeah,
Yeah.
I do judo, motherfucker.
Yeah. And by that time I stopped, but I was
Yeah.
like, I still know more than him.
Yeah.
And, because I was on nights and, I should have stayed in it, but I didn't, but,
You should have stayed in it. Should have stayed in nights.
judo.
Oh,
Judo.
judo. Okay,
Yeah. I mean,
But you're
and-
back in it now. aren't
Well,
you?
yeah,
Like jujitsu.
Yeah, we do jujitsu as a family.
A far more superior sport than judo, to my understanding.
It's different.
Jiu-jitsu is like
It
really
all
about
came-
submission and stuff like
Well,
that.
I mean, judo. The thing with judo, it all came from Japanese jujitsu.
oh, judo is a form of jiu-jitsu. I don't know
It all-
shit about martial
and so
arts,
the guy who
I'm not
created
into it.
judo was a guy named Higoro Kano. Created judo and took like all the throws and stuff from Japanese jiu-jitsu
Okay.
and created judo. And then, so when I started in judo, it was like 50% standing and 50% on the ground, where we'd work on pins and arm
Mhm.
bars and chokes. Well, then it kind of changed where they thought it's not a real popular sport here. And so they were like, well, how can we make it more popular? Well, nobody it's boring to watch people on the ground. They want to see people flying through the air, right? Because wrestling's big, right?
Yeah.
And well, that wasn't the case. Look how big jiu-jitsu is. So, but yeah, no, so I knew arm bars and chokes and,
All I know about judo is through the Hillbilly Ninja. Judo chop. If you
Austin
guys
Powers?
don't know the
No.
Hillbilly Ninja, I'm telling you, anybody listening to this, you gotta Google this guy. Look him up on YouTube.
well, Austin Power says it all the time.
Oh, dude, he's like, he calls it Judy chop.
Judy job. Oh, yeah,
The
I've heard
hillbilly
the
always wearing
Judy
a
job.
freaking like American flag shirt and all that kind of stuff.
I've never seen it.
Oh, dude, it's hilarious. Now when I hear you talk about When I hear you talk about judo,
Yeah.
I'm gonna send you an American flag button-down shirt for your
Please
birthday.
do. Wear with my American flag cowboy hat. And that I do my yard work.
I think his nunchucks are 2 aluminum Coors cans with duct tape and string. So he's like, judo chop.
Yeah. So, to go back, going to his funeral was tough,
Yeah.
and I'm not one of these, I'm stoic, but like at funerals, I cry.
Do you?
Yeah.
Why?
Yeah.
Why is it that? Why does it
I don't
take
know.
that
I mean,
to bring out to let your emotions go?
I don't know. But, my ex-wife, when her grandmother passed away, I cried there. And I'm like, or her grandfather, I'm like, I barely know these people. But I cried because I guess I felt sad for her and her family. And then, of course, I knew my classmate, of course. And like I said, we would eat with him a lot, during nights and stuff like that. They have already gone to like, they already switched to a division when this happened. Yeah. It's just, plus he was a friend of mine.
Yeah,
So of
I
course I'm gonna
imagine.
cry, and I had a guy I worked with that was killed 5 years ago or so, was close to retiring and ran a warrant and got killed. And, I cried at his because he was a friend of mine too that I worked with. We used to do fantasy football together and, when I used to care about football. So, yeah. And I have to live my life too. So I
Yeah.
have to, I can't,
Yeah, I got you.
yeah.
You don't need to justify the emotional state. or
Yeah,
anything like that. I do have genuine curiosity
Mhm.
about those things because I
I
can't.
don't cry on a scene,
Yeah, of course
but,
not.
but yeah, I did at his funeral by far.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And, because it's, it's a horrible thing. Like I said, I never thought I would ever see blood on a blue, but,
Yeah, like when going in, it just never, it's not something that you never thought about you
like
would
a
encounter.
coworker of my dad's died in a car wreck. And I went to that funeral before I was an officer because I knew him. And, I cried there, but that was before an officer, but I didn't put it together like, at the line of duty stuff. I guess he got in a car wreck and he was chasing the guy down and he rolled his car and died. And he was divorced. And apparently, the story is he died with his pictures of his kids in his hand.
Really?
Yeah,
Is that
because he-
true?
That's what they say. Yeah. Because he kept a picture of his kids on his visor all the time. And so when he rolled his truck,
Wow.
because he loved his kids, even
Mhm.
though he's divorced or whatever, but, his kids were his life, when you hear stuff like that, of course, that's emotional. And
Yeah,
of course I cried at it,
It's tragic.
yeah,
Yeah.
by far.
Mm.
So
Did you end up going through or requiring any type of therapy or any type of cognitive anything after he was killed after that funeral? Did they offer
No.
any of that to any?
Well,
officers?
like I said, it's always free. It's there if you want.
But you don't really.
No.
It's not like you would think.
Trust me. I've been to psych services just because of, my personal life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And because my family deals with depression and I have it and stuff. So when,
You'd
like
think
my
that
personal life.
You'd think that when somebody is in a situation like that, it would almost be a requirement just for like a checks and balances at the very least.
Yeah, but-
Where's our officer's headspace? His partner was killed in the line of duty, or something happened. His best friend, who's a police officer, was killed in duty. We need to check this guy's headspace to make sure he is where he's.
I think it's better now, but
Yeah.
also that and we can talk about this now or later, but that's also, you're like, as me as a supervisor, I should be able to see how you are. I'm your boss, right? And I see you day
Okay.
to day.
Yeah.
I should see like, hey, something's different about him. What happened? And so maybe I approach you and talk to you like, hey man,
So there is to a degree, there is a check.
depending on how good or like we're partners.
Observant.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How observant you're around.
So if you've got a shitty supervisor, the likelihood is it'll slip under the radar and it could
or
potentially-
partner
Yeah.
or just coworkers who's like, hey man, Sam's not the same. Something's up. And then I go up to a supervisor, hey man, ever since that happened, Sam's not the same, man. Maybe, he's more skittish. He seems more quick to draw. Maybe we should, but again, how receptive are you going to be if I approach you about it?
Yeah.
You're not going to get the help if you're not receptive.
Yeah.
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 If you're forced,
You can't force that on
yeah,
anybody.
and if
Yeah.
you're forced to go and you don't want to be there, it's
Now
not
you're going to be all resistant as shit.
Yeah.
And that could potentially create its own problem.
Exactly. So, it's definitely a thin line to walk in recognizing it and approaching it and trying to address it.
I think that's interesting. I don't think people who live day to day have even the slightest idea or even put any thought or afterthought into that in police officers' lives and all that shit and trauma and drama that they go through on a day-to-day basis.
And let's just get one thing straight. It's just, I'm talking from my experience
Yeah.
by far. Firemen any first responder
Yeah, it
Oh,
has
yeah.
to deal
has
with
to
this
deal with
shit.
critical incidences, and the trauma that can be developed from that.
Yeah.
So yeah, this applies. I mean, firemen. Like I said, my buddy with the car that where the family drowned during Harvey, where the fire department wouldn't go down and retrieve the bodies, and then of course the body car, we're not doing that, so they had to do it.
And they're like,
Somebody has to do it. It has to be done, and it's
and
gonna
so
be
it,
ugly
it
for
got
that guy.
dumped on them going down into the bayou embankment and pulling them out of the car and putting them on the gurneys and taking them up. But so yeah, like I said, this is stuff not just because police in general, it's any first responder who deals with critical incidents.
I think it's a good little segue for this, but you being in that position, now retired, step back, you got 30 years experience in this. If you could say to anybody, like even like a husband or a wife to a first responder or a police officer, what is something that's relatively simple to overlook that if you pay attention to that, it's a good sign that now's the time to take action?
If they withdraw,
Elaborate on withdrawal.
so a guy that worked for me got in a shooting, killed a guy, and we could talk about this now if you want.
Sure, yeah.
He gets in a shooting, kills a guy, and I saw it. And like I tell him, I told him years later, man, I failed him as a supervisor because I saw him. Because the one thing about, when I was over the gang task force down there in Southeast, I always worked close with my squad because when I was on attack unit as an officer, we worked close as a squad. We didn't just go do our own thing. We did sometimes, but we ran as a squad. You might be in a cool car spotting for us, and then we're jumping out of our marked cars chasing the dope dealers.
What's a cool car?
Just a plain car.
Yeah.
We called them cool cars.
Like an unmarked car?
Yeah, an unmarked.
Okay.
Yeah, just a normal car. It's cool, man.
I gotcha.
cool car.
I don't know how they came up with it. I mean, that's an old head. Like
Yeah.
I said, a lot of the words I use are old heads that I got from my dad.
Yeah.
So who knows what they call them now?
Yeah.
These youngsters, they don't know what they're saying.
That guy. Old
And
bastard.
so, and he gets in a shooting, kills a guy, and I see it. He's definitely skittish. He's definitely more apt to pull his pistol out on scenes that maybe, I'm not going to say he shouldn't have, because what you view is how you viewed it. And if you felt you had to have your pistol out because of whatever you felt that threat was there to help, but I was like, maybe, but he was really close with the other tax sergeant. And so I talked to him about it. And I was like, maybe you could approach him because you know him
Yeah.
better, and stuff. And it kind of fell through the cracks. And, years later when we were talking, and he told me, he goes, he withdrew from his family, that like he would go home and, he would go to his parents' house on the weekends, and he goes, I stopped doing that. I just didn't want to be around him because of the shooting.
Why?
Just because of the PTSD he was dealing with from it.
Because he killed somebody.
Well, I know, but
Yeah.
like why withdraw from them?
It was just how he just was withdrawing.
Yeah.
And it just wasn't his parents particularly. He was withdrawing anyways.
All together.
Yes.
So you say skittish.
Like,
Elaborate on skittish. Like what is skittish versus not skittish?
well,
in
like
that
I said, he was
situation?
quicker to pull his pistol. He
Yeah.
seemed, definitely a little more scared,
Defensive,
more
almost?
defensive in a sense of, like,
Yeah.
yeah, just like I'm saying, skittish. He was just like more
Okay.
nervous.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. And then would pull the gun out.
And was
quicker.
it enough to where when you see it, obviously it's a trigger warning or a red flag
Yeah,
warning?
I should have been more proactive on it. But like I said, I went and talked to the other sergeant who I thought might have approached it better because he knew him better.
Yeah.
But I should have, as his boss, like, hey, man, I'm seeing this. Maybe we should go talk to some people about, what's going on. But he did it on his own. He recognized it because like I said, I told him, after he promoted up years later, we'd bump into each other, and he came to my wedding and stuff like that. And I told him that. I was like, dude, I failed you as your boss. I saw that you weren't the same. And and he's like, no. He's like, no, you did fine. He goes, I saw it and I took care of it myself. I went to psych services and I went, and that's how I knew he was withdrawn from his parents and stuff like that.
Yeah.
What advice do you have for a first responder or an officer who's going through something like that? That's right now they're putting that macho masculinity or female masculinity or whatever you want to call it. They're putting that macho bullshit in front of it.
It's important to recognize it. And it's, the macho thing is, if you really want to be macho, dude, about it, is you're the one that's going to go and get help. That's the more macho thing because you're doing something else that nobody else is doing.
Against the rift.
Yeah.
Yeah.
to me, that's how you look at it. I never had a problem going to psych services. Like I said, I'd go because of my personal life, and so if I felt like I was having issues because of work life, I'm going to win, and mine was my personals.
Was it hard for you as an officer to keep the two completely separated, or does it ever? Were there ever times where they one or the other bled into the other?
Oh, by far. I mean, yeah, you can compartmentalize as much as you try to, but when I was going through my trial divorce, my trial marriage, I mean, I was devastated, and and dealing with depression that I deal with and stuff, and of course it would come out.
Yeah.
And that old Chris Rock video, how not to get beat down by the police. If you go a running, the cops are bringing an ass whipping with them. Right?
Yeah.
If you run from us, we're going to thump you because you're putting me in danger by running. I don't want to blow an ankle or a knee or if you're running in a car, you wrecking into somebody or me getting in a wreck, you're getting you're getting a little tuned up,
Yeah.
And it's the way it was. And now you can't do it. But, but the crooks knew it too.
Yeah.
They knew if I run, I'm going to get an ass whooping if they catch me.
Yeah.
And then it was done. And that's the thing is as soon as those cuffs were on, it was done. It was when the cuffs are on and you're still thumping them, that's where the problem is.
Yeah.
Unless, this guy's unconscious, he ain't handcuffed, and you're still kicking him in the head, But, so, yeah, I just lost my train of thought. Sucks being old, man.
It's all right being an old man.
He got it on his own.
Yeah, recognize
and like I said, I think the macho thing is you do it on your own. Man. You recognize it because they'll, hey, man, you don't need that. You can do it on your own. Oh, man. The macho thing is I need,
admitting that you need help.
I can't. Yeah, you admit it. To me, that's more being a man.
I agree.
Yeah.
I really do agree with you.
Yeah.
Was there ever stigma on the force about people going to psych? Or, would people be like, oh, God, you went to psych. What are you doing?
So psych services has always been off-site.
Yeah.
Well, then they bought this huge high-rise in downtown and moved headquarters down there. So all the divisions are in this headquarters, and somebody had the bright idea to move psych services there. Shockingly, the visitations, if you will,
dropped significantly.
Yes.
I'll bet.
Because
nobody wanted to be looked
seen,
like a pussy.
Seen going to psych services at 1200 Travis.
Yeah.
So finally, somebody in charge goes, why is nobody coming to psych services anymore? Well, look at where you moved it. So now again, it's off-site.
Yeah.
So
no, the macho thing is still very much prevalent.
Yeah. I mean, it's just, why Sam going to psych, man? What's going on with him?
Yeah.
Then the gossip girls start.
Yeah.
And it is what it is, man. I mean, that's the thing is like, I guess the one thing about me and going to that high school, me not being cliquish or whatever, I could care less what people thought of me.
Yeah.
And, I went to 2 class reunions. I went to my 5-year with my ex-wife, or was it 10? I don't know. And I'm like, people went up to her like, hey, what class did we have? And I'm like, I'm the one that went to school with you, you fool. And I'm like, man, I hated you people when I was here. And I was like, why am I here? And then I bumped into an old high school classmate of mine that lives close to where we lived in Houston. And he's like, hey, man, you going to the class reunion? And I'm like, nah, dude, I don't, and I was already remarried, with Connor and with the boy and stuff. And, and his name is real similar to mine. And he was on the dive team and I was on the swim team. So we knew each other, right? We sat next to each other because his last name started with R. And so he's like, why don't you come I'm like, nah, dude, I'm not going, man. I didn't like it the first. Oh, you're cool, dude. Everybody likes you. And I'm like, nobody knows me, dude. So of course we go. And then, and I'm like, I hated you people then. Why am I here again?
Yeah.
So I'm, but that's, to me, I don't care what people think of me. I only care about the people that I care about, how they think of me.
Yeah.
Well, what do I care about some fool I don't know, man,
I agree.
Yeah, by far.
Yeah,
I mean, you can't worry about what people think of you.
I agree completely. Because if you
Because
start thinking about what other people think about you,
then you can't do what you need to do.
No.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And you don't go to your health and human services. You don't go to your psych eval. You don't do what needs to be done to make sure that you can keep doing what you need to be
That
doing.
you're healthy. Yeah.
Yeah, don't let other people dictate.
Because that
your
other
life.
person isn't taking care of you. You're taking care of you.
Exactly.
So, but, and it wasn't always, we didn't always see bad stuff. I mean, but, we always got to see the mundane, the family violence thing always constantly was, here we go again, Sam and Lindsay are fighting again. We're back at that house again. We were there last night,
Ugh.
and then so we show up and then of course, you get the battered women syndrome, it's a real thing and don't think that it's not.
What is that? What do you mean? Battered woman syndrome?
that it's a cycle, and I'm probably going to mess it up. But pretty much the woman blames herself, but stays in the relationship even though she knows it's toxic.
Yeah.
And then you smack her around, and then you go through your apologetic phase.
And
I'm
your
sorry. Yeah,
sweet
I'm sorry.
face.
Narcissistic codependency.
Yeah, that's exactly. And then it's just a complete cycle. And then you go back to smacking her around. And then again, and then the woman stays because she doesn't know any better, and she's a battered woman,
It's it's a very true thing.
Yeah, it's huge. And so, again, we run this call, and again, so we go there, kid called on his parents, daddy's beating up on mommy. So we show up there, and we're dragging dad out, and kid's crying, and wife's kind of standing by herself, mommy and daddy were in the room, and mommy was screaming. And we're like, all right, dude, come here, man. What's going, and, kid's crying, and the husband is like, hey, Hauser, can I talk to you? I'm like, well, yeah, what the hell's going on, dude? And he goes, well, the wife's kind of vocal. We were,
they serve beer in hell?
yeah, they were in the bedroom getting it on.
Have you seen that movie? I
No.
hope they serve. Oh my God. Again, try to watch the opening scene. So
Similar?
mom's kind of vocal. Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's the opening scene is these two cops on their way to what they think is an animal abuse call. They kick the fucking door in and they tase the guy and they tase the woman.
Yeah.
And she's actually a deaf girl. So she's like, oh my God.
Oh, God. And now see why they
And
serve
she's
beer in
like,
hell.
the girl was pissed. She's like, what are you doing here?
And so, well, then we go look at the wife, and she and get her side.
Yeah.
She's like, we were just really getting it on. And so the kid, he was about 10 years old.
He doesn't know.
That is-
He doesn't know.
I feel so sorry for that kid.
And so we're like, well, this ain't our place to tell him what's
Yeah.
going on. But we're like, hey, no, your parents were fine. They weren't fighting.
Yeah.
But it was good that you did what you did.
Yeah.
Don't think what you did was wrong. They weren't fighting. It was, and
Yeah.
and now this is in the third ward too, and
And your parents will explain to you what happened.
Your parents will explain to you, and and he had like a bunch of old blues records on it, and so I started talking to him about the blues, because my old dad played guitar, so he got me into I like the blues,
Mhm.
and so I see like the blues records, and so I'm like, oh man, I've seen that guy. Albert Collins, and, who came from the third ward and stuff like that. And Lighton Hopkins was from out there, who I never saw. But, I'm like, oh, man, I've seen that guy at Rockefeller's. And so we talk about that and stuff, But, yeah, I mean, so you get funny stuff like that, too.
Yeah.
Where you just crack
That
up.
is fucking, that's fucking hilarious.
I saw this. Speaking of funny, I saw this video of these officers responding to this house. They went to the lady and they're like asking her, so we need to search your car. And she's like, what? And she's questioning, like, what are you talking about here? And he's like, there's hair hanging outside of your trunk and we need to search this. And all of a sudden she looks and she's like, oh my God. And she's like, it's my wig. Oh my God. She runs inside and gets her keys so she could go out. And everyone just starts laughing because it literally was a wig that she's
Got caught.
pulling things
Yeah.
out of her trunk and it got pulled out. And when she shut the trunk, half of the wig was still out and half of it was in. So it looked like someone's hair
Looks like a
was
body
in
was
the
in the
trunk.
trunk.
Yeah, so,
And
yeah, I mean, so you come across funny stuff like that,
That's at least like I would love to put my eyes on that on that police report.
I mean, there is no report.
You don't have to write a report on just for going out. You don't have
No,
to write a
no.
report
I mean, some
if there's
departments,
not an incident.
because there's no crime that happened.
yeah.
I mean, sometimes you might just do like an information report.
Yeah, something
Just-
like you don't even have to.
No,
like-
I mean, you could document it in the call slip,
yeah.
because the computer, you can put memos in the call slip and put assault, understanding.
Moment of passion gone
Moment of-
awry.
Yeah, moment of passion, kid misunderstood. So, yeah. But most of the time, it's just, most of the work was mundane,
Yeah.
I mean, and that's, of course, that's what leads to us getting hurt. Because we do the same thing day in, day out, and you get complacent.
Yes,
Yeah.
I was just gonna say you must get a little complacent.
Yeah, man, it's the same traffic stop, so I'm not going to be as on guard as I was, when I first got out.
It's always the same bullshit.
Thank you for listening. Don't forget to stop by throughtherough.net to check out our latest episodes, merchandise, and hit that donation tab to keep content coming. See you again next week.